went to sleep a man, woke up fully female. Olivia paused in the center of her softly lit apartment, giving one last glance to the mirror as she adjusted her makeup. The reflection staring back at her looked confident and radiant, smooth skin, defined cheekbones, and long lashes framing warm brown eyes. She tugged lightly at the sleeves of her emerald blouse, smoothing the fabric. Turning 30 felt strangely empowering. For the first time in her life, Olivia felt completely at peace with who she was. A sudden knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. "Come in," she called, already smiling. She knew exactly who it was. The door opened to reveal her parents, Martha and George, stepping inside with bright smiles and arms full of colorful gift boxes. "Happy birthday, sweetheart!" Martha exclaimed, hurrying over to hug her tightly. George carefully set the presents down before joining them. "Look at you," he said warmly. "Our wonderful daughter, all grown up." Olivia blinked back tears, overwhelmed by the affection in their voices. Their acceptance had carried her through so many difficult moments in life. "Thank you for being here," she said softly. "I'm lucky to have you both." Martha squeezed her hands. "We wouldn't miss this day for anything." Soon the three of them were relaxing on the couch, laughing and chatting. George produced a chilled bottle of champagne and expertly popped the cork. The bubbly fizzed into 3 glasses. He raised his flute. "To Olivia," he said proudly. "Our brave, incredible daughter. Watching you become the person you are today has been the greatest joy of our lives." "To Olivia," Martha echoed. Olivia laughed as she clinked her glass with theirs. "You're both going to ruin my makeup if you keep saying sweet things." After the toast, George slid a carefully wrapped present toward her. "This one first," he insisted. Olivia peeled away the golden wrapping paper and uncovered a beautifully carved wooden box. Curious, she opened it. Inside rested an antique oil lamp, gleaming softly against velvet fabric. The brass surface was etched with delicate patterns and tiny gemstones that sparkled in the light. "It's beautiful," Olivia whispered, turning it in her hands. "Where did you find this?" "During our trip to Morocco," Martha explained. "The shopkeeper told us it had a special legend attached." Olivia raised an amused eyebrow. "A legend?" George leaned forward playfully. "Apparently it's a birthday wish lamp. If someone rubs it on their birthday and makes a wish from the heart, the wish comes true." Olivia chuckled. "You don't really believe that?" "Of course not," Martha said with a grin. "But it makes for a fun story." Olivia set the lamp on the table, admiring how it glowed in the late sunlight. "Well, it's definitely the most unique gift I've ever received." They continued celebrating, opening more presents and sharing stories. By the time evening crept in, the sky outside had turned brilliant shades of orange and pink. Eventually Martha stood, checking the time. "We should let you get ready," she said with a teasing smile. "You have a date tonight." "Mom." Olivia laughed, blushing. George hugged her tightly before leaving. "Have a wonderful evening, sweetheart." "I will," she said. "Love you both." When the door closed behind them, the apartment fell quiet. Olivia wandered back to the living room, her gaze drifting to the antique lamp still resting on the coffee table. "A birthday wish lamp," she murmured. Curiosity got the better of her. She picked it up, running her fingers along the cool metal surface. With a small smile, she rubbed the side of the lamp. "I wish," she began. For a moment she hesitated, searching for the deepest desire in her heart. Then the answer came effortlessly. "I wish I had been born female." Silence followed. Nothing seemed to happen. Feeling a little foolish, Olivia set the lamp back down and headed toward her bedroom to change. But when she stepped in front of the mirror, she froze. Something was different. At first it was subtle. Her features looked softer somehow. Her waist curved slightly more, her hips a bit fuller. Her heart began pounding as she stepped closer. "No way," she whispered. With shaking hands she looked down at her body, and gasped. The change was undeniable. Her body was completely female. Olivia stared at her reflection in stunned disbelief. The impossible had happened. It worked, she breathed. As she sat down on the edge of the bed, another strange sensation washed over her, memories shifting like pages in a book being rewritten. Her childhood was suddenly filled with new moments, ballet classes, sleepovers with friends, her mother comforting her during her first period. In this reality she had always been a girl, growing up without the confusion or pain she once remembered. Tears rolled down her cheeks as joy flooded her chest. The wish hadn't just changed her body, it had given her an entirely new life. Her phone buzzed on the dresser, breaking the silence. Olivia glanced at the screen. It was a message from Claire. "Can't wait to see you tonight, birthday girl." Olivia smiled. Standing up, she looked at herself in the mirror once more, marveling at how natural everything felt. Finally whole. She opened her closet and reached for a sleek red dress she vaguely remembered buying for tonight. The soft fabric hugged her figure perfectly as she slipped it on. Tonight, she thought, was going to be unforgettable. Olivia traced a final line of lipstick across her lips and gently ran a brush through her hair, fluffing the soft waves until they fell perfectly around her shoulders. When she looked up at the mirror, she paused. For a moment she simply stared. She had always been attractive, but tonight something felt different. There was a lightness in her expression, a glow that seemed to come from deep inside. The tension she had carried for so many years had vanished, replaced by pure happiness and confidence. Just as she slipped into a pair of heels, the doorbell rang. Her heart fluttered with excitement. Olivia hurried to the door and opened it to find Claire standing in the hallway. Claire looked stunning in a sleek black suit that perfectly complemented her tall frame. Her bright blue eyes widened the moment she saw Olivia. "Wow," Claire whispered. "You look unbelievable." Olivia laughed softly and pulled her into a hug. "You're not looking too bad yourself." Claire stepped back, clearly nervous but smiling. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "I was planning to wait until dinner," she said, "but I don't think I can." Before Olivia could ask what she meant, Claire lowered herself onto one knee. Olivia gasped, her hands flying to her mouth as the box opened to reveal a brilliant diamond ring. "Olivia Marie Parker," Claire said, her voice trembling with emotion. "From the moment we met, I knew my life had changed. You are the most incredible person I've ever known. Would you make me the happiest person alive and marry me?" Tears instantly filled Olivia's eyes. "Yes," she said through a laugh. "Yes. Absolutely yes." Claire slid the ring onto her finger, and the two of them wrapped each other in a joyful embrace, laughing and crying all at once. "I love you," Olivia whispered. "I love you too," Claire replied softly. A short while later they left the apartment together, hands intertwined, both glowing with excitement. Their destination was a cozy French restaurant tucked into a quiet corner of the city. Candles flickered across the tables and soft music drifted through the room as the host led them to a secluded booth decorated with fresh flowers. Claire pulled out Olivia's chair before sitting down across from her. Olivia glanced down at the ring sparkling on her finger. "This still doesn't feel real," she said. Claire reached across the table and gently squeezed her hand. "Then let's enjoy the dream." They toasted with champagne, celebrating their engagement as the waiter brought course after course of delicious food. Yet Olivia barely noticed the meals. Her attention kept drifting back to Claire and the wonderful future they were planning together. By the time dessert arrived, Claire grew thoughtful. "There's something else I wanted to talk about," she said. Olivia's eyebrows lifted. "Everything okay?" Claire nodded, smiling. "You know how we've talked about having kids someday?" Olivia's heart started beating faster. "Of course." "Well," Claire continued, "I think I'm ready. If you are, maybe we should start trying." Olivia felt tears fill her eyes once again. In another life that possibility had seemed impossible. But now, in this new reality, the dream felt real and close. That would make me so happy, Olivia said quietly. Claire leaned across the table and hugged her tightly. Then it's settled. Someday we'll have a little family. After dinner they took a slow walk through a nearby park, enjoying the warm summer evening. Tiny lights wrapped around the trees gave the path a magical glow. Olivia leaned against Claire's shoulder. So, Claire said with a playful grin, have you thought about our honeymoon yet? Olivia's eyes lit up. Actually, yes. Claire raised an eyebrow. What if we finally did that world cruise we always talk about? Claire laughed in delight. The Greek islands? Australia? Norway? All of it, Olivia said. A once-in-a-lifetime adventure. That sounds perfect. Eventually they returned to Olivia's apartment, still buzzing with excitement. While Claire stepped away for a moment, Olivia noticed the antique lamp resting quietly on the coffee table. She picked it up, running her fingers across the delicate engravings. Thank you, she whispered softly. For an instant the metal seemed warm in her hands, almost as if the lamp had hurt her. Smiling, she set it back down just as Claire returned. Another bottle of champagne? Claire suggested, wrapping her arms around Olivia. I like the way you think, Olivia replied. They spent the rest of the evening curled up on the couch, talking about wedding plans, possible baby names, and the places they hoped to visit someday. Eventually Claire sighed and stood up. I should probably head home, she said reluctantly. Work tomorrow. Olivia pouted playfully. Do you really have to? Claire hesitated, then smiled. Well, I suppose I could stay. Perfect, Olivia said, pulling her into another hug. Later they settled into bed together, Olivia nestled comfortably against Claire's chest. Best birthday ever, Olivia murmured sleepily. Claire kissed the top of her head. You deserve it. The next morning sunlight streamed through the curtains as Olivia slowly woke. Claire's arm rested gently across her waist. For a moment Olivia wondered if everything had been a dream. But the ring on her finger sparkled in the morning light, reminding her that it was all real. Claire stirred beside her and opened her eyes. Good morning, beautiful, she murmured. Good morning, Olivia replied, kissing her softly. Eventually Claire glanced at the clock and groaned. I have to get ready for work. Olivia laughed. Go on. I'll make coffee. While Claire showered, Olivia padded into the kitchen and started the coffee maker. She hummed happily as she moved around the apartment. When Claire emerged dressed for work, Olivia handed her a travel mug and kissed her cheek. Have a great day, Olivia said. I will, Claire replied. I'll call you later. After the door closed, Olivia stood quietly in the kitchen, sipping her coffee and thinking about everything that had happened. The ring on her finger glittered in the sunlight. Her life had changed in ways she could never have imagined, and somehow it felt like the beginning of something even more wonderful. Olivia had originally planned to spend her day researching surgeons and scheduling consultations. For months, that had been the next step in her life. But now, none of it was necessary. The realization washed over her all over again, sending fresh tears of happiness down her cheeks. Laughing softly at herself, she grabbed her phone and dialed her mother. Martha answered almost immediately. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you feeling after yesterday's excitement? Olivia grinned so wide it almost hurt. Amazing, Mom, she said. Actually, I have something to tell you. Oh. Martha replied curiously. Claire proposed last night. The scream of excitement that erupted from the other end of the line was so loud Olivia had to pull the phone away from her ear. Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. Martha cried. Your father and I are thrilled for you both. Olivia laughed as her mother continued celebrating through the phone. We always knew Claire was the one, Martha added warmly. They spent the next several minutes talking about the proposal and tossing around early wedding ideas. As Olivia described the evening, her voice occasionally caught with emotion. "I just feel so lucky," she admitted softly. "To have you and Dad, and Claire. I never imagined life could feel this perfect." "You deserve every bit of happiness, my darling," Martha said gently. After the call ended, Olivia decided she deserved a little relaxation. She filled the bathtub with warm water and bubbles, lighting a few scented candles around the room while soft music played in the background. As she sank into the bath, she closed her eyes and let her thoughts wander toward the future. She pictured herself walking down the aisle in a flowing white gown, Claire waiting at the end with tears in her eyes. She imagined their honeymoon adventure, traveling across oceans and discovering beautiful places together. But the vision that touched her most deeply was another one entirely. She saw herself months later, her belly round with pregnancy, Claire's hand resting gently against it as they felt their baby move. The image made her heart swell. Those dreams had once felt impossibly distant. Now they felt real. After her bath, Olivia wrapped herself in a robe and settled at her laptop. Soon she was completely absorbed in researching wedding venues, scrolling through endless photos and building a digital board full of ideas. By the time Claire called during her lunch break, Olivia had already collected a long list of possible locations. "Wow," Claire laughed when she heard. "You've been busy." "I might have gotten a little excited," Olivia admitted. They talked about dates, decorations, and themes until finally settling on a wedding sometime the following spring, enough time to plan everything, but not so long that they would have to wait forever. "I still can't believe this is really happening," Olivia said quietly. "It is," Claire replied. "And this is just the beginning." After their call ended, Olivia's eyes drifted toward the antique lamp sitting on the coffee table. She walked over and picked it up gently. "I don't know if you can hear me," she murmured, smiling faintly, "but thank you." Her fingers traced the delicate patterns etched into the metal. "You gave me a chance to live the life I always dreamed about. I promise I won't waste it." For just a moment the lamp seemed warm in her hands. Olivia placed it back on the table, feeling a deep sense of peace. The rest of the day passed quickly as she continued planning and daydreaming. That evening, when Claire returned home, they curled up together on the couch and spent hours discussing their future. Later that night, as they drifted to sleep, Olivia felt completely at ease. Her journey had been long, and sometimes painful, but it had led her exactly where she needed to be. She was loved. She was whole. And for the first time in her life, everything felt right. Over the following weeks, Olivia adjusted to her new reality with a sense of joy that never seemed to fade. Wedding planning quickly turned into a whirlwind of activity. Weekends were spent visiting venues, sampling cakes, and flipping through endless catalogs of flowers and decorations. Eventually they chose a beautiful outdoor garden for the ceremony, followed by a reception in a restored countryside barn. One bright Saturday morning, Olivia went wedding dress shopping with her mother and her best friend Zoe. Standing on a small pedestal in the bridal boutique, she looked at herself in the mirror wearing a stunning lace gown. Tears filled her eyes. Everything about the moment felt natural. There was no lingering doubt or discomfort, only excitement. "Oh sweetheart," Martha said softly, pressing a hand to her chest. "You look absolutely breathtaking." Zoe nodded enthusiastically. "Claire is going to lose her mind when she sees you." Olivia laughed through her tears. "I think this might be the one," she said. Later, while changing back into her clothes, Olivia remembered a conversation she'd had with Claire a few nights earlier. They had been discussing the possibility of starting a family. "You're sure you want to carry the baby?" Olivia had asked nervously. Claire had taken her hands gently. "I would love that," she said. "But only if it's something you truly want." To Olivia's surprise, the answer had come easily. "I do," she had replied. "More than anything." Now, standing in the boutique dressing room, Olivia rested a hand on her stomach. The thought of growing their child inside her filled her with wonder. It was a gift she once believed she would never experience. and she intended to treasure it completely. Outside the shop, Martha slipped her arm through Olivia's as they walked. "I'm so proud of you," her mother said quietly. "Seeing you this happy means everything to us." Olivia leaned against her shoulder, smiling. "Thank you for always believing in me." The months passed quickly as wedding preparations continued. Olivia poured her energy into her career as a graphic designer, while she and Claire also began searching for a home where they could build their future together. Through it all, the antique lamp remained on display in their living room. A quiet reminder of the miracle that had changed everything. One evening, while the two of them were relaxing on the couch discussing honeymoon plans, Olivia glanced at the lamp again. A thoughtful expression crossed her face. "Claire," she said slowly. Claire looked over. "Do you remember anything unusual about my birthday gift from my parents?" "Your transition," Claire repeated, tilting her head with a puzzled smile. "What do you mean, love?" For a split second Olivia froze. Then it hit her. In this reality, there had never been any transition. She had always been a girl. Always grown up as Olivia. There had been no years of confusion, no difficult journey to become herself. The magic of the lamp had erased every trace of that struggle from the world, except from her own private memories. Her heart raced as the realization settled in. "Never mind," Olivia said quickly with a small laugh, leaning forward to kiss Claire's cheek. "Just a random thought." Claire shrugged lightly. "Okay, anyway, listen to this." She grabbed her tablet and launched into an enthusiastic explanation of the Mediterranean cruise route she had been researching. "First we stop in Greece," Claire said excitedly. "Then Italy, and the south of France." Olivia smiled and listened, but inside she quietly whispered another thank you to the mysterious magic that had changed her life. The lamp hadn't only transformed her body. It had rewritten her entire history. She now had the childhood she once dreamed about, the sleepovers, the teenage years, the simple comfort of growing up as herself. Later that night, as they prepared for bed, Claire fell asleep quickly. Olivia, however, remained awake. Moonlight spilled softly across the bedroom while she stared at the ceiling, reflecting on everything that had led her here. Part of her still remembered the old struggles, the pain and uncertainty that had shaped her strength. Those memories were now hers alone. But when she turned and looked at Claire sleeping peacefully beside her, Olivia felt nothing but gratitude. She wouldn't change anything. The magic of the lamp had given her the chance to live the life she had always longed for, a life filled with love, joy, and endless possibilities. Eventually sleep claimed her as well. Their wedding day arrived beneath a bright, cloudless sky. It felt as if the entire world was celebrating with them. Olivia woke early, excitement fluttering in her chest as her bridesmaids gathered around her in the bridal suite. Laughter and chatter filled the room while makeup brushes and curling irons worked their magic. Her mother carefully helped her step into the lace wedding gown they had chosen weeks before. As the fabric settled perfectly around her, Olivia looked into the mirror. The reflection staring back was confident, radiant, and completely herself. "Oh my darling," Martha said softly, hugging her from behind. "You are the most beautiful bride I've ever seen." Olivia blinked back emotional tears. "Thank you, Mom," she whispered. "For everything." Soon it was time. Outside in the garden, guests waited among rows of white chairs surrounded by flowers and sunlight. Olivia stood beside her father at the entrance to the aisle. George squeezed her hand gently. "Ready, sweetheart?" he asked. Olivia took a steady breath and smiled. "More than ready." The music began. Together they walked down the aisle. At the end stood Claire, dressed in a crisp white suit, her eyes shining with emotion. For Olivia, the rest of the world seemed to disappear. Only Claire mattered. Their vows were simple but heartfelt. They promised to support each other, laugh together, and face every challenge side by side. When they exchanged rings, Olivia felt tears spill freely down her cheeks. Finally the officiant smiled warmly. I now pronounce you wife and wife." Their kiss was met with cheers and applause from friends and family. The reception that followed was a joyful blur of dancing, laughter, and heartfelt speeches. During their first dance, Olivia rested her forehead against Claire's. "I love you so much," she whispered. Claire smiled. "I love you too, Mrs. Evans Parker." The words made Olivia laugh softly with happiness. Hours later, as the celebration slowly wound down, the newlyweds said their goodbyes and left for the next chapter of their adventure. They would spend a few days at a beautiful seaside resort before beginning their long-awaited world cruise. Inside their hotel suite that night, Olivia wrapped her arms around Claire. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" Claire asked. "For loving me exactly as I am." Claire gently cupped her face. "Loving you is the easiest thing I've ever done," she replied. They kissed softly before collapsing onto the bed, exhausted and happy. As Olivia drifted towards sleep, she thought one final time about the mysterious lamp resting back in their apartment. It had given her an incredible gift. But the true magic wasn't the wish. It was the life she now shared with Claire, a life filled with love, adventure, and hope for the future. And as sleep finally carried her away, Olivia knew one thing for certain. She was exactly where she was meant to be.